Welcome to the secret to cleaning stainless steel sinks, like a pro. You use your sink every single day, right?
Oh, yeah. Multiple times a day.
Exactly. I mean, you rinse dinner plates, you dump out old coffee, you wash your hands after handling raw chicken, you scrub heavy pots.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a direct question.
Okay, go for it.
Are you actually cleaning your sink? Or, are you just moving yesterday's bacteria from the left side of the basin over to the right side?
Yeah, that is the big question.
Right. Like you're just convincing yourself it's clean simply because the dishes are put away.
That really gets to the core illusion of kitchen maintenance, I think. Humans are incredibly visually driven creatures.
Right. If it looks clean, it is clean.
Exactly. When you look at an empty stainless steel sink, because there aren't plates physically stacked up to the faucet, your brain immediately registers the environment as done.
Like the chore is just completely over.
Yeah. But a visual absence of dishes absolutely does not equal a sanitized, truly clean surface.
No, not at all.
Yeah. An empty sink is often just a blank canvas covered in this invisible layer of organic and inorganic matter.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because our focus today is a highly specific, like 5 to 10 minute routine from the YouTube channel. Clean that up.
Yeah, it's a great deep dive.
It really is.
Yeah.
And when you watch this instructional video, it completely shatters that illusion of the clean, empty sink. What strikes me is that this isn't about scrubbing until your arm falls off.
No, not at all. It's a systemic approach.
Right. It is all about a very deliberate sequence of products and physical actions. Like, if you ignore the sequence, you just get a tired arm and a dull sink.
Yeah, that systemic approach is what makes this routine so highly effective. I mean, the creator of the video doesn't look at the sink as a single chore.
How do they look at it?
They look at it as a multi-layered environmental problem.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it requires breaking down entirely different types of chemical bonds and physical barriers in a really specific order.
Because different messes need different tools, right?
Yeah. Precisely. You cannot treat a lipid the same way you treat a mineral deposit.
So let's look at the very first thing the creator does.
Yeah.
Before a single drop of cleaner is applied, they establish the perimeter.
The blank canvas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They completely clear the area. They remove everything from around the sink basin. In the video, they specifically point out pulling off a scrub daddy sponge that was just sitting there on the edge.
Yeah, that step is so crucial.
It seems like basic common sense.
Yeah.
Right? But I know for a fact most people just leave the dish soap bottle sitting there and clean around it.
Oh, absolutely. It is basic common sense, yet it's probably the most skipped step in household cleaning.
Why do you think that is?
Well, you have to establish a clean perimeter, which serves as a psychological reset just as much as a physical one.
Oh, I like that. A psychological reset.
Yeah, because if you leave that dish soap bottle or that damp sponge sitting on the corner of the sink, you are subconsciously establishing obstacles.
Right, you're just going to wipe around them.
Exactly. You will clean around the bottle. And by doing so, you are preserving a ring of moisture and grime underneath it.
The gross soap ring.
Yeah, and that ring acts as a magnet for future bacteria. By completely clearing the deck, you are removing the physical barriers that prevent a comprehensive clean.
And once the deck is clear, the next move isn't a chemical, it's just plain water.
Right, the mechanical rinse.
Yeah, the creator takes the faucet hose and thoroughly rinses the entire basin to wash away the macroscopic debris.
Just the big pieces.
Exactly. And there's a very relatable visual in the video. They use the water to wash away some leftover coffee grounds that are clinging to the left side of the sink.
The focus on those coffee grounds on the left side is actually a vital piece of the methodology.
It's so validating to see. I mean, who among us hasn't dumped out a French press or rinsed a reusable coffee filter and watched those stubborn little wet brown flakes practically glue themselves to the stainless steel?
That happens every morning.
Right. You try to splash water on them with your hand, but they just slide an inch and stick again.
Yeah, the reason they stick is due to the surface tension of the water combined with the oily nature of the coffee beans themselves.
Oh, so the coffee oils are fighting the water.
Exactly. But fortunately, rinsing away those coffee grounds and any other loose debris is a critical prerequisite to chemical cleaning.
Because you want the chemicals to hit the real mess.
Yes. If we connect this to the bigger picture of chemistry, you never want your active cleaning agents wasting their molecular energy on loose, unattached dirt.
I always think of it like trying to mop a floor before you sweep it.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, if you have a kitchen floor covered in loose dirt, crumbs, and dog hair, and you just take a wet mop directly to it, you aren't actually cleaning the floor.
No, you're just making mud.
Exactly. You're just hydrating the dirt. You're spreading a slurry all over the tiles. You have to sweep the big pieces out of the way first so the mop can actually reach the bonded stains on the floorboards.
That is an incredibly precise mechanical analogy. The water rinse is the broom for your sink.
I love that. The broom for your sink.
Yeah, it flushes away the loose elements, the coffee grounds, the rogue piece of lettuce, the breadcrumbs. It leaves behind only what is bonded to the metal.
And that brings us to the first true barrier between you and a shining sink, which is the grease.
Right, the invisible layer.
Because once the loose stuff is down the drain, the creator brings out the first product, which is Dawn Power Wash.
A very specific choice.
Yeah, they spray this entirely over the basin and then bring in a non-scratch scrub sponge. They specifically mentioned that the Scrub Daddy, which they removed earlier, works great for this step.
It does.
They give the entire sink a deep, aggressive scrub. But I have to ask, why use Dawn Power Wash as the opening move? Could I just use standard hand soap or like a generic all-purpose spray?
I mean, you could use an all-purpose spray, but you would be working much harder for a significantly less effective result.
Why is that?
Well, what's fascinating here is the deliberate, targeted choice of a heavy-duty degreaser as the vanguard. The creator notes that Dawn Power Wash is specifically formulated to handle leftover food and grease. In any heavily used kitchen sink, the foundational layer of grime isn't dust, it is biological grease.
Biological grease. That sounds like something you'd find in an auto body shop, not where I wash my vegetables.
It does sound intense, but it is the unavoidable byproduct of processing organic matter.
Give me an example.
Think about your daily habits. You rinse a plate that held a slice of pizza. You wash a pan used to fry eggs. You wash your own hands after handling ground beef.
Oh, right, the fats.
Exactly. Every single one of those actions introduces lipids, fats, and oils into the sink basin. And as we know, water and oil are hydrophobic.
They repel each other.
Yes. Tap water cannot wash away lipids. So these microscopic layers of fat basically coat the brushed grain of the stainless steel.
Like a film.
Right. And once that sticky lipid layer is established, it acts as an adhesive. Dust, microscopic food particles, and bacteria embed themselves into that fat layer.
So the sink is essentially wearing a sticky microscopic sweater of bacon grease and olive oil.
That is a very visceral way to put it, but yes, exactly. And the chemical job of the Dawn Power Wash is to act as an emulsifier.
How does that work?
The molecules in the degreaser have two ends, one that loves water and one that loves oil.
Okay, I'm tracking.
The oil-loving ends embed themselves into the biological grease, while the water-loving ends pull away. This encapsulates the fats into tiny microscopic spheres called micelles.
Micelles, okay.
Yeah, and that forcibly lifts the grease trap away from the metal.
Okay, so the degreaser disarms the sticky trap. But let's talk about the tool they use to agitate it. The creator is very specific about using a non-scratch scrub sponge.
Yes, that is vital.
Why is that distinction so important? If I'm trying to rip grease off metal, shouldn't I use the toughest thing I have, like a green scouring pad or steel wool?
Oh, please do not do that. That would be a catastrophic error for the longevity of your sink.
Really? Why?
When you are dealing with a stainless steel sink, you are dealing with a highly specific alloy. Stainless steel contains iron, carbon, and crucially, chromium.
Chromium. Got it.
The chromium reacts with oxygen to form a microscopic, invisible layer of chromium oxide on the surface. This layer is what prevents the underlying iron from rusting.
So that's what makes it actually stainless.
Precisely. It is what makes it stainless. Furthermore, the basin usually has a brushed aesthetic finish, a very deliberate, uniform, directional grain.
So it's not just a solid, indestructible block of metal.
Yeah.
It has a delicate topography to it.
Exactly. If you attack it with a highly abrasive pad like steel wool, you are essentially dragging boulders across a Zen garden.
Oh man, that hurts just to think about.
Right. You will introduce chaotic, deep micro-scratches into the surface. Not only does this immediately ruin the brushed finish, making the sink look perpetually dull and cloudy.
Which defeats the purpose of cleaning it.
Right. But worse, it creates a physical topography that makes the sink infinitely harder to clean in the future.
Because those deep scratches become new valleys for the biological grease to hide in.
Yes. You are creating permanent reservoirs for bacteria. The non-scratch sponge, like the Scrub Daddy, is engineered to provide kinetic energy. It delivers the physical friction required to agitate the degreaser and break the surface tension, but its structural integrity is softer than the chromium oxide layer.
So it cleans without compromising the metal.
Exactly.
So you soften the enemy with the emulsifier, and you sweep them off the battlefield with a safe, non-destructive tool.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
It's a perfect system.
But as the creator is doing this initial broad stroke scrub of the basin, they suddenly draw our attention to a very specific hidden area. An area I am frankly guilty of ignoring.
Most people are.
They point right at the garbage disposal.
Ah, yes. The transition from the broad basin to the microenvironment of the disposal is crucial.
The video points out that right in the lip that sits just below the drain, there is a massive accumulation of dirt and grime.
It's a hot spot.
Yeah. But then they zero in on the black rubber splash guard. And the creator gives two different tactical approaches depending on the hardware in your specific kitchen.
Right, because they aren't all the same.
Exactly. First, they say that if your rubber splash guard is removable, like if it can pop completely out of the drain, you need to pull it out and give it a deep clean. Because, in their words, it gets a little nasty.
Calling that rubber component a little nasty is an exercise in extreme diplomacy.
Right. It is usually horrifying under there.
Yeah.
But here is where the video gets incredibly practical and relatable. The creator acknowledges that not every sink is built the same.
Very true.
They show a sink where the black rubber splash guard doesn't come out. It is fixed in place.
That changes the whole game.
It totally does.
Yep.
And for those fixed guards, you have to entirely change your approach. You can't just wipe it with the sponge.
No, it won't reach.
They tell you to grab a toothbrush, scrub all the cracks and crevices, and then, and this genuinely made me grimace, you have to physically lift up the rubber flaps and scrub the hidden underside of the guard.
Yep.
Because food gets trapped under there, and if ignored, it creates a foul odor.
What's fascinating here is that this raises an important question about how we define cleanliness in our homes.
How so?
Well, we discussed earlier that we judge cleanliness visually. If the stainless steel reflects light, we assume it is clean. But very often, a dirty sink is not a visual problem.
Right. It's an olfactory problem.
Exactly. It is an olfactory one. Have you ever walked into your kitchen, the counters are spotless, the sink is empty and shining, yet there is a lingering, vaguely sour smell in the air?
Yes, all the time. And you start checking the trash can, you start sniffing the dish sponge to see if it's mildewed. You're looking for a rogue piece of fruit behind the toaster.
And you are looking everywhere except the true source.
The disposal.
The hidden underside of that non-removable rubber splash guard is the primary culprit for mystery kitchen odors.
That makes so much sense.
Think about the physical mechanics of a garbage disposal. You are taking organic matter, citrus rinds, meat scraps, vegetable peelings, and you are grinding them at high velocity while flushing them with water.
It's a chaotic centrifuge.
Exactly. During that process, tiny pulverized particles of food and wet biological matter are being violently thrown upward.
Like a blender without the lid securely on.
Yes. And what is acting as the lid?
That black rubber splash guard.
Its entire functional purpose is to take the hit. It stops that wet debris from flying out of the drain and hitting your ceiling.
Oh, gross.
Which means the entire underside of those rubber flaps is constantly being coated in a paste of pulverized food.
A paste.
Yeah, it is an environment that is perpetually wet, completely dark, and covered in organic fuel. It is the ultimate incubator for odor-causing bacteria and biofilm.
It is a massive aha moment. If the kitchen smells slightly off despite a visual wipe down, that rubber lip is exactly where you need to look.
Absolutely.
But I want to talk about the tool they use here, the toothbrush. Why switch tools? Why not just jam a corner of the scrub daddy down into the drain and twist it around?
Because a broad tool cannot navigate complex geometry.
Oh, okay.
A standard sponge is designed for surface area. It simply cannot penetrate the tight negative space of the drain flange or reach deep into the specific angles where the rubber flaps meet the metal rim.
It's just too bulky.
Right. The bristles of a toothbrush, however, are specifically designed to reach into crevices and apply targeted mechanical friction to areas that otherwise never experience agitation.
You have to physically disrupt that layer.
You are disrupting a biofilm that has been allowed to grow undisturbed in the dark.
It's like performing precision dental work on your kitchen sink.
That's exactly what it is.
And it guarantees that you aren't just achieving an optical illusion of a clean basin, you are achieving a deeply sanitary, odor-free environment.
It is the fundamental difference between surface-level tidying and true deep-level maintenance.
Speaking of deep-level maintenance and making sure the hidden areas of your home are truly cared for, we all know that the grime we can't see is often the most stubborn.
Oh,
And if you
Ah,
want your home to experience a whole new level of deep cleaning, especially when it comes to the heavy lifting of your floors where dust and odors get trapped deep in the fibers, you need to visit Kindy Carpet Cleaning on Google.
because carpets hide so much?
Exactly. It's one thing to master the microenvironments of your kitchen sink, but when it comes to your carpets, bringing in the pros is the way to go.
A clean sink and a clean floor are the foundational pillars of a healthy home.
Absolutely. So let's get back to the sink, because this is where the instructional video takes a turn that I found completely fascinating.
Okay, where are we in the process?
We have fully degreased the basin with the Dawn Power Wash. We have scrubbed the unseen biofilm from under the garbage disposal flaps with the toothbrush.
The organic phase is done.
Right. The creator then takes the faucet hose and gives the entire sink a thorough rinse to wash away all that lifted grease and loose dirt.
Always rinse between steps.
And they point out that the sink definitely looks much better. But, and they specifically draw the viewer's attention to this, on the left side of the sink, down by the drain area, there is still a dull layer of gunk.
Yes, the haze.
The grease is gone, but the sink is cloudy. It is not shining. Why didn't the degreaser finish the job?
Because the creator has hit the limit of what an emulsifier can do.
Oh, I see.
This transition in the source material is the pivot point of the entire masterclass. We are moving from the realm of organic biological grease to the realm of inorganic mineral buildup.
Two totally different beasts.
Completely. These are two completely different categories of matter, and the chemical rules that govern them are entirely distinct.
So the Dawn Power Wash is basically waving a white flag at this point.
Yes, we discussed how Dawn breaks down lipids, but your sink is constantly exposed to municipal tap water.
Right, multiple times a day.
Unless you live in a home with a highly aggressive, lab-grade reverse osmosis filtration system, the tap water flowing from your faucet contains dissolved earth minerals.
Like what kind of minerals?
Primarily calcium carbonate, magnesium, and lime. When you use your sink, droplets of water are left behind on the steel.
And they just sit there.
Right. Over a few hours, the H2O evaporates into the air, but the heavy minerals cannot evaporate. They are left behind, bonding tightly to the stainless steel.
Oh, so that's what makes it cloudy.
Exactly. This is what we refer to as hard water buildup or scale.
And the soap simply cannot wash away a rock.
Exactly. Soap cannot touch mineral scale. You could sit there with a sponge and dish soap and scrub a calcium deposit for 3 hours.
And nothing would happen.
All you will achieve is a tired arm and a perfectly sanitized calcium deposit. It will not dissolve. To break the bonds of inorganic mineral deposits, you must introduce an acid.
Which brings us to the second heavy hitter in the creator's arsenal, which is Barkeeper's Friend.
An excellent product.
The video notes that you can use either the liquid soft cleanser version or the traditional powder version. In fact, the creator even mentions that they have a completely separate video linked in their description that breaks down the specific differences between the powder and soft cleanser for those who want to get deep into the weeds.
That's helpful.
But regardless of which one you choose, the active ingredient doing the heavy lifting here is oxalic acid.
Oxalic acid, yes.
The creator applies the Barkeeper's Friend, grabs the Scrub Daddy again, and starts scrubbing the cloudy areas.
What's fascinating here is the precise chemical reaction occurring on the surface of the metal.
Break it down for me.
Oxalic acid is a reducing agent. When it makes contact with the calcium carbonate and lime deposits, it aggressively donates electrons to the mineral structure.
Okay, so it's attacking on a molecular level.
Yes. This breaks the molecular bonds holding the hard water scale together. The acid literally dissolves the cloudy, microscopic rock formations that are diffusing the light and making your sink look dull.
And once the rock is gone,
Once those minerals are dissolved, the true raw brushed metal is exposed, which is what restores that brilliant factory new mirror shine.
it's incredible. You absolutely have to know your enemy. Organic fats demand an alkaline degreaser. Inorganic minerals demand an acid. You can't mix up the tools.
No, you can't.
And the creator points out an amazing visual cue in the video that proves this chemistry is actively working. They say that when you start scrubbing a really dirty, heavily mineralized area with the Barkeeper's Friend, you will notice the white foam of the cleaner physically change color.
Oh, I love this part.
The white bubbles turn into a nasty brown.
I am so glad the creator highlighted that specific visual feedback mechanism. It is one of the most satisfying elements of chemical cleaning.
It really is. You see those bright white bubbles shift to a thick, nasty brown sludge, and the creator explains that this means the product is doing a great job lifting the embedded dirt and oxidized minerals right out of the surface.
Exactly.
It's almost like the metal is sweating out all its hidden impurities.
It acts as a profound psychological reward, too. You aren't just blindly scrubbing and hoping for the best.
Right, you can see it working.
You are receiving real-time, undeniable evidence of a chemical reaction. The oxalic acid is pulling oxidized contaminants out of the microscopic valleys of the steel's grain. That nasty brown foam is the physical manifestation of your success against the hard water.
But here's where it gets really interesting, and where the video issues a massive warning.
Oh, the time limit.
Yes. The creator stops and specifically cautions the viewer. They say, one thing to always keep in mind when using Barkeeper's Friend on a stainless steel sink is you don't want to let it sit for too long.
Very, very important advice.
Their exact, explicit instruction is to give the sink a good scrub, let the acid sit for about 1 minute, and then rinse it. Just 1 minute.
Yep, 60 seconds.
Now, I have to push back on this. If I just bought a house and the sink has a decade of cloudy hard water buildup on it, 1 minute feels like nothing.
It feels counterintuitive.
Human nature says more is better. If 1 minute cleans it, why can't I just slather the sink in Barkeeper's Friend, go watch an episode of a TV show for 30 minutes, and come back to an invincible sink?
That instinct is incredibly common, and if you follow it, you will permanently destroy your sink.
Destroy it, just from leaving it on too long.
Absolutely. The concept we are discussing here is called dwell time, the amount of time a chemical is allowed to rest on a surface.
Oh, yeah, dwell time.
Dwell time is a delicate, high-stakes balancing act. We established that oxalic acid is highly effective at dissolving hard minerals, right?
Right.
But remember our earlier discussion about the metallurgy of a stainless steel sink?
The chromium oxide layer that stops it from rusting.
Yes, oxalic acid does not have eyes. It cannot distinguish between the calcium carbonate sitting on top of the sink and the protective chromium layer of the sink itself.
Oh, no.
Exactly. If you leave a strong acid resting on stainless steel for an extended period, say 10 or 20 minutes, once it finishes eating the hard water, it will continue right downward and begin to attack and dissolve the chromium oxide layer.
Oh, wow. So you are essentially burning a hole through the metal's defense system.
Precisely. It will cause irreversible etching, micropitting, and permanent dark discoloration. You are performing a highly controlled chemical burn on the surface of the basin.
That is terrifying.
The strict 1-minute rule is the creator's way of ensuring that you completely obliterate the mineral buildup without giving the acid enough dwell time to breach the structural integrity of the steel. It is precision timing.
That makes me respect the chemistry so much more. You are executing a targeted tactical strike. You are not launching a siege.
Exactly. Get in and get out.
And while you are in that brief 1-minute window, the creator throws in a fantastic pro tip. They remind you not to forget to scrub the backside of the sink, specifically the flat deck area, right up around the base of the faucet.
Oh, that area is the worst.
They point out that this is an area where hard water really lives to build up.
It is the ultimate splash zone.
Exactly. I want you listening to picture your own kitchen sink right now. Think about the physical mechanics of using a faucet.
Okay, visualize it.
You turn the water on, you wash your hands are now dripping wet. You reach forward to turn the handle off. The water drips from your wet knuckles, falls onto the flat steel deck behind the faucet, and just pools there.
And it has nowhere to go.
Right. And then it air dries. Over and over and over again every single day. That area becomes a thick, chalky crust, and the oxalic acid cuts right through it.
It is the most common area of neglect because it is geometrically awkward to reach behind the faucet.
You kind of have to contort your hand.
Yeah, and it never receives the incidental daily friction that the bottom of the basin gets from pots and pans rubbing against it. The hard water is allowed to build up completely undisturbed.
So the 1-minute timer goes off. The creator immediately takes the faucet hose and sprays everything down with water to rinse away the nasty brown bubbles.
Neutralizing the acid.
But wait, if I rinse the acid away with tap water, aren't I just putting the hard water minerals right back onto raw steel?
You are, but we will address how to solve that exact problem in the final step. Right now, the priority is halting the chemical burn.
Okay, save the metal first.
Exactly. However, a simple spray of water is not enough to guarantee safety.
Right, because the creator doesn't stop at just spraying it. They deliberately take a damp towel and wipe down the entire basin to ensure there is absolutely no Barkeeper's Friend residue left behind.
This is a crucial mechanical step.
Why is the physical wiping necessary if I just hit it with a high-pressure hose?
Because of the microscopic topography of the brush steel we talked about earlier, a spray of water will dilute the bulk of the acid and flush it down the drain.
But some gets left behind.
Yes. Microscopic pockets of the active cleanser can easily remain trapped in the grain of the steel or packed tightly into the seams where the drain meets the basin.
And the water spray just glides right over them.
Exactly. If left there, those hidden pockets of acid will continue to react with the metal over the next few hours and days.
It's like accidentally spilling bleach on a dark shirt,
Mm.
realizing it immediately, and splashing some water on it.
Oh.
If you don't actively wash the bleach completely out of the fibers, it will just keep slowly eating the dye.
That is a perfect comparison. The mechanical action of physically wiping the surface with a damp towel forces the water into the grain, guaranteeing that you have completely neutralized, diluted, and removed every last molecule of the active chemical agent.
You are officially calling off the attack and making the sink safe again.
Yes, the reaction is completely halted.
Okay, so the basin is now deeply degreased, chemically descaled, thoroughly rinsed, and shining beautifully. The main bowl looks incredible.
But we aren't quite done.
No, the creator doesn't stop there. Because a perfectly mirrored stainless steel basin paired with a crusty water-spotted faucet completely ruins the aesthetic.
It shatters the illusion of perfection. A pristine basin highlights the flaws of the fixtures above it.
Completely. The creator notes that when they are cleaning sinks, they always make sure to take a quick look at the head of the faucet.
Water source?
Yeah, and in the video, they tilt the faucet head up to show the underside, where the water actually sprays out from the aerator. And it has some exceptionally bad hard water buildup. It's thick, crusty, and white.
Standard issue for municipal tap water.
So to tackle this, they introduce a third chemical agent to the routine. They grab a bottle of CLR.
CLR is fantastic for this.
They take the dirty faucet head, drop it into a small container of CLR, or they suggest you can soak it if your faucet doesn't pull out, and they let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes to, quote, do its thing.
Notice the extended dwell time.
Now, hold on. Why does the CLR get 2 to 3 minutes of dwell time when the barkeeper's friend on the basin only got 1 minute? Why isn't the CLR burning the metal?
Notice the escalation of tactics here based on the specific location. The underside of a faucet head is the absolute epicenter of water flow.
Right, every drop comes out of there.
It is where the municipal water literally exits the system under pressure. The concentration of mineral buildup there, the heavy calcification choking the tiny rubber spray nozzles in the metal rim, is exponentially thicker and much denser than the thin film of evaporation on the basin floor.
So the mineral crust is acting like a physical shield.
Precisely. CLR stands for calcium, lime, and rust. It is an industrial-strength acid formulation designed specifically to dissolve heavy, three-dimensional inorganic mass.
So it takes longer to chew through.
Yes. The creator affords it 2 to 3 minutes of dwell time because the acid has to physically eat its way through a thick crust of lime before it even gets close to the underlying metal of the faucet.
It's buying time.
The creator is relying on the extended chemical dwell time to penetrate and soften that thick crust, reducing the amount of physical force required to remove it.
And you can see that strategy pay off perfectly.
Yeah.
After those 2 to 3 minutes of soaking, the crust is completely soft.
It just melts away.
They pull it out of the CLR, give it a very quick, effortless scrub with a toothbrush to clear the tiny spray nozzles, rinse it off, and as the creator points out, it looks virtually brand new.
Which is amazing.
The chemistry did all the heavy lifting, not the user's elbow grease.
When utilized correctly, chemistry is the invisible labor of cleaning.
But then we arrive at the final step, and the creator makes a massive point of emphasizing this.
It is crucial.
They state that this final step is often completely forgotten, or maybe people just assume it isn't necessary. But if you ask them, it is arguably one of the most important steps to really get your sink looking shiny and flawlessly clean.
I agree with them completely.
You must come through with a dry microfiber towel and physically buff and dry the entire surface of the sink.
Yes, the dry down.
The creator says this final buffing shines up the metal and guarantees there are no water streaks left behind, ensuring the final result looks absolutely amazing.
This step is the dividing line between an amateur effort and a professional result. It all comes back to your earlier very sharp observation about rinsing the sink with tap water.
Right, because think about the sequence of events. We just spent the last 5 minutes using oxalic acid to painstakingly dissolve and strip away the microscopic mineral deposits that the tap water has been leaving behind for the last month.
The basin is completely clean.
The stainless steel is now perfectly raw, exposed, and clean. But to remove the acid, we rinsed the sink using the faucet. We just coated our perfectly descaled sink in a fresh soaking wet layer of mineral-heavy tap water.
Exactly. If you walk away at this point and let that tap water air dry, what physically happens?
It evaporates.
The H2O molecules will evaporate into the kitchen air, but the dissolved calcium and magnesium suspended in those droplets will not evaporate.
They stay behind.
They will settle right back down onto the raw steel.
You are literally redepositing a brand new layer of the exact enemy you just fought so hard to burn off.
Yes, leaving tap water to air dry on a freshly descaled stainless steel sink completely defeats the core purpose of the acid wash. You will immediately get new water spots, mineral streaks, and a hazy finish the exact second the water evaporates.
So by bringing in the dry microfiber towel to physically buff the surface, you aren't just making it look nice, you are physically capturing the water droplets and all the heavy minerals suspended inside them and pulling them into the cloth before evaporation can occur. You are extracting the minerals from the environment.
You are beating evaporation to the punch. And the specific choice of a microfiber towel is essential to the mechanics of this step.
Why microfiber specifically? Why not paper towels or a cotton dish rag?
Well, microfiber is not like a traditional cotton towel. Cotton fibers are round and they tend to push water around as much as they absorb it.
Like smearing it on a windshield.
Right. Microfiber, however, is manufactured by splitting synthetic fibers into millions of tiny wedge-shaped strands.
Like millions of microscopic squeegees.
Exactly. Those microscopic wedges create an incredible amount of surface area and capillary action.
So they suck it up instantly.
When you drag a dry microfiber towel across the wet steel, those tiny wedges physically scoop up the water molecules and trap them deep within the weave of the fabric, leaving the metal completely bare, bone-dry, and flawlessly streak-free.
It's science.
The buffing stage is an act of chemical prevention just as much as it is an act of aesthetic finishing.
It just elevates a mundane, annoying weekend chore into a highly calculated, professional-level sequence. There's no wasted movement.
None at all.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Let's summarize the incredible efficiency of the methodology we just unpacked.
A quick recap.
By following a strict, unyielding sequence, you can take a grimy, odor-filled, dull basin to a literal mirror finish in just 5 to 10 minutes.
It's remarkably fast.
You start by degreasing with Dawn Power Wash and a non-scratch sponge to emulsify and remove the biological fats and leftover food making, sure to hit the danger zone under the disposal flaps with a toothbrush.
Removing the organic barrier first.
Then, you step up the chemistry and descale with the oxalic acid found in Barkeeper's Friend to strip away the inorganic hard water minerals. Strictly observing the 1-minute rule so you don't etch the metal, and looking for those nasty brown bubbles as proof it's working.
Let the acid do the work.
Then, you treat the faucet with CLR, allowing it 2 to 3 minutes to soften the heaviest calcification on the aerator.
For the thickest crust.
And finally, you finish by buffing it entirely dry with a microfiber towel to intercept the water before it can evaporate and leave new mineral spots behind.
It is a flawless operational sequence based on sound chemical principles.
It results in a dramatic before and after that looks nothing short of amazing, just like the creators showed in their video. And I want to make sure we mention that the creator of Clean That Up gives a really genuine shout out to their Clean Squad on Patreon at the end of their video.
That's a great touch.
It really highlights the community aspect of sharing these kinds of practical, life-improving mechanics. People are actively supporting the channel so everyone can learn how to maintain their homes more effectively.
It is wonderful to see a community built around the shared goal of elevating our everyday environments. And looking at this entire sequence of chemical reactions, it raises an important question.
Lay it on me.
If a quick 1-minute application of oxalic acid can pull a literal nasty brown layer of oxidized minerals off a kitchen sink that most people would have already considered visually clean, what other metallic surfaces in your home are secretly hiding a microscopic layer of hard water dullness just waiting to be brought back to life?
Oh man, I am going to be looking at every single piece of metal in my house differently now.
It changes your perspective.
The shower heads, the bathroom faucet decks, the metal hardware on the kitchen cabinets, the invisible layer of dullness is everywhere. I absolutely love that perspective. And before we go, I want to remind you that if you want to tackle the toughest, deeply embedded grime in your home with true professional power, make sure you visit Kinda Got Carpet Cleaning on Google.
A great resource.
Let the experts handle the heavy lifting while you master the chemistry of your kitchen.
This has been a truly illuminating breakdown of applied science.
It really has. From pulling the scrub daddy out of the way to understanding the threat of biological grease to harnessing the power of nasty brown bubbles and microfiber squeegees, I hope you listening feel as thoroughly empowered to tackle your kitchen sink as I do. Thank you for listening to the Secret to Cleaning Stainless Steel Sinks Like a Pro podcast.